We put up guidelines that create a framework of how we believe we can reopen the economy safely. But we don't prescribe when. We maintain, because of the size, scope, and scale of the state of California, that those decisions should be made with local lens. Those decisions should be made by allowing and advancing localism to be the thrust and the guide to ultimately making the determination of when to move forward through these phases in safely reopening the economy.
Every state is very different. If they need to remain closed, we will allow them to do that. And if they believe it is time to reopen, we will provide them the freedom and guidance to accomplish that task, and very, very quickly.
There's a certain point where you have to recognize you can't be in a permanent state where people are locked away for months and months and months and months on end to see lives and livelihoods completely destroyed without considering the health impact of those decisions as well.
We have to get our country back. You know, people are dying the other way, too. When you look at what's happened with drugs, it goes up. When you look at suicides, I mean, take a look at what's going on. People are losing their jobs. We have to bring it back, and that's what we're doing.
You're telling me that I have to breathe in CO2 when God gave this body the ability to extract that from my body, and now you want me to put it back in my body. I have natural rights as a sovereign citizen of the United States.
By continuing to keep people in masks, separated and out of work with no legitimate cause, you are kneeling on the necks of the people, and you are continuing to act in a thuggish manner.
Guys, it's over. Like, really? Like, you know? I mean, are we still talking about this?
Not being shy about what she says happened to her and 15 of her friends. She tells us they all tested positive for coronavirus after a night out in Jacksonville Beach.
We've all been stuck indoors for months, being careful, social distancing, doing everything the right way. And then the first night we go out, Murphy's Law, I guess.
Murphy's Law. I'm Barry Gordon.
I'm Andre Coleman.
And this is NewsRap live at 5.
The home edition. Let's do it.
All right. Well, Dre.
Here we go, man.
Here we go. You know, we thought this was, well, we didn't, but a lot of people thought this was behind us. And guess what?
Subsiding.
It's not.
It's not subsiding anymore.
No.
More at all. So
no, as a matter of fact, if you look at the bar graph, I'm going to look weird with the camera here, but if you look at the bar graph, right? And the case high was like here on April 23rd.
That's in March, right?
April 23rd, it was about kind of at its peak, I think it was. And now it's right back there.
Yeah. So
it's right back there.
So we've done 3 months to get to right back where we started from.
Yeah.
You know, these are the numbers, the outrageous numbers we're seeing every day. This is what I expected at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
This is what the safer at home order kind of stopped us from seeing numbers like this every day. But now we're seeing it across the country. It's here. This is the real deal. And this isn't even the second wave. Say what?
You look relaxed. You're sitting back. And
well, I'm sitting back because if I sit up, I'll be higher kind of in my frame than you are.
Oh, okay.
So I'm match.
Gotcha.
What we're both doing. But I'm just chilling out, new haircut, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Well, if things keep going this way, I'll need another one before I get out and start moving around again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. And you know, we showed those clips and maybe they weren't fair. And I'll take the hit for that. But it's just that when Newsom talked about this stuff, he so reminded me of Trump, the whole thing of it's local and I'm not going to tell people what to do. And, you know, and then, you know, all of that was and we can't keep people locked in, and, we got to open up. And it just reminded me so much of Trump. I mean, it was said a little more artfully, but basically it's the same message. And, but now I understand he's actually thinking of reinstituting a stay-at-home order, at least in some parts of the state.
Yeah, I mean, LA County now leads all counties in the country with COVID cases.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. LA County, which 2 months ago, everybody was saying, wow, things didn't end up anywhere where we thought LA would. It beat all the projections. Yeah. Now we're quickly heading towards those projections. Look, I was actually more disappointed in Newsom than I am in Trump. Because Donald Trump gave me exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
He gave me exactly what I expected of him. Gavin Newsom started very, very well with the initial safer at home order, which I think, Barry, was a response to what was going on. Mm-hmm. And then I think reopening was just a reaction when he saw what was happening. It was budget time and he saw the economy. And he reacted badly and open. We got to open everything. I would be more down with that if California was the only place with a tumbling economy. But the economy tumbled around the world and around the country. We're right where everybody else is. This won't pull things out quicker. I mean, some restaurants were doing well. I know you went to El Portal. You told me it was crowded. It was nice. Mm-hmm. But a lot of places weren't even seeing the crowd yet. It wasn't coming back.
Well, not only that, but one of the clips that I saw that we had to leave out because of time was the LA County health person, the public health director.
Barbara Ferrer.
Yeah, Barbara, saying that half, at least as of last week, about half of the restaurants that reopened were violating guidelines.
There you go.
They were not meeting guidelines. And the only good news is that I guess a week or 2 weeks before that, it was 75% weren't meeting guidelines. So yay, we got it back up to a half. But you see, that should not be happening. I agree. And again, you've got to have the control at the top. And I think Cuomo is doing that very effectively. I think Phil Murphy's doing that effectively. But I find Gavin Newsom lacking in that, and it bothers me.
Well, you know what? The other thing with Newsom was I think Newsom has a problem being clear. It's like with schools. Parents, you kind of might want to expect not to have your kid go back before the semester is over. You kind of might want to expect. I don't even know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
There were no clear declarations. With Cuomo, hey, it was clear.
Yeah.
I'm doing it this way, whether you like it or not, period.
Right.
With Newsom, It's kind of this surfer boy. I'm trying to keep everybody happy. Don't.
Well, it's also never use 10 words when 50 will do.
Exactly.
I mean,
never met a monologue you didn't like.
I mean, we tried to get a scissors in the opening clip because that sentence was like 3 minutes long. I mean, we had a snippet somewhere. It's like,
can you imagine copy editing that?
I know.
Like, man,
I know that's tricky stuff.
Or a clear.
So, what did you think of Biden yesterday? I thought he was quite good.
I like him, and I'm going to say this about Biden. We know his gaffes, his energy, the questionable energy is well documented, especially with you. But I will say, the last couple of times I've seen him speak, I've been impressed because he seems to have found, if I stay between here and here, and I react to what this idiot is doing, I look like the greatest leader of all time. Yeah. As long as you can just back to Trump, he looks great.
And he's not being snarky, which I like, but he is in his own way just totally carrying Trump.
Well, he's destroying him.
I mean, he really is. Whenever he says, you don't whine about it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just straightforward. And it makes Trump look about that big. I know he's a tall guy, but it makes him small.
He's not making the mistake Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and the other Republicans made, which was to try to fight on Trump's wheelhouse, which I've said this 1,000 times, and we're about to see it happen. Trumpism only works for Trump.
Yeah.
You know, all of the Republicans who try to do that after Trump is gone are going to see that, oh, wow, this doesn't work the same way. But on the same token, fighting on Trump's level, fighting in Trump's backyard works great for Trump because it's how he battles. It's how he fights. Joe Biden's not doing that. He's just telling the truth. Hey, look, the guy's whining. You don't have to say anything after that. It's just the truth.
Exactly.
You know, it opens it up. It opens it up.
Exactly.
So
I'm hearing something coming into my headphones. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm just hearing a constant back chat. Back chat that I'm hearing. But by the way, folks, we want to remind you that you can join the conversation on Facebook, and
come on in.
We'll look forward to hearing from you. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's probably time to go to the local, huh?
All right, let's do some local, brother.
Let's do local.
This is your local news brief for Friday, June 26th, 2020. The city of Pasadena reports 1,213 confirmed coronavirus cases, a 114 case increase from last week. With 3 additional virus-related deaths, the death toll is now at 89. Pasadena now reports the Huntington Hospital's COVID-19 patient count has spiked. In late May, reports were at 27 cases, and the hospital has since reported having 52 cases. Pasadena Public Health Director Dr. Ying Go credits the reopening of the economy for the increase in numbers. Go is quoted in a Pasadena Now article as saying, "This increase has been driven by community transmission." Several police staff, the interim fire chief, and the city spokeswoman self-quarantined after attending a briefing on Monday where another employee was feverish. The employee in question has since been cleared after testing negative twice. An internal audit found issues with the City of Pasadena's 2019 fiscal year audit plan. Although there was no illegal activity, several risks were discovered within the public safety departments. Some risk factors included prolonged check processing, unauthorized employees generating invoices, and non-compliant petty cash practices. According to a Pasadena Now article, City Manager Steve Mermel has stated that the majority of potential risks are being handled. The Los Angeles County Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission and the Office of Inspector General have not received information on the shooting deaths of Andres Guardado in Gardena and Teron Boone in Rosamond. Inspector General Max Huntsman says his office requested reports from the Sheriff's Department for Guardado's case on Monday and have not heard back. For Boone's case, Huntsman is quoted in a Pasadena Now article as saying that the Sheriff's Department refused to give it to us. Patty Giggins, chair of the Oversight Committee, is quoted in the same article as saying, "Our work can be stymied when there's not cooperation and collaboration. We need a willing partner in the sheriff." With recent protests over police brutality and accountability within the department, the Pasadena Public Safety Committee and Pasadena City Council are working towards police reform and oversight within the city.
All right. Well, you know, the news is not good. I mean, we're up to what, 1,200 something cases now
In Pasadena.
in Pasadena.
Yeah, I mean, we are. They don't want to call it a trend, but a trend, but I'll call it a surge. The numbers have surged. Earlier this month, we had gotten to a point where I guess we're averaging about 6 to 7 a day, is what I was usually seeing. Now we had a day last week where there was 25, another day where there's 17, 16.
Yeah.
We're reporting probably 1 death every other day is probably what we reported this week also. So
yeah, but that's better.
That's
we're definitely flattening the curve on that end of it. But
we are. And it looks like we've controlled our outbreak that was in the long-term healthcare facilities, or the nursing homes as people call them. But now, like everybody else, we're seeing community spread, and we're seeing this in younger people.
And now when I look at if I look at the state so-called dashboard, when I can find it, and I look at the dashboard and I see that the goal is less than, I think, 25 new cases per 100,000, I guess it is, per 100,000. And LA County, the last time I looked, was around 170, 190.
Yep.
That's not 25. And the positivity rate is going up. That's the other problem.
Yeah. Well, we're finally getting away to this crazy claim that we are finding more. Well, it's not a crazy claim, but it was being reported as a positive that we were finding more cases because we were testing more. It was almost being reported like the testing was causing the cases. But now we finally got around to understanding that, hey, look, finding more cases means that there's more exposure, and those cases probably led to more cases. And the CDC said yesterday, for every one positive test, there are 10 people with the virus who have not been tested, which puts us over 2 million people in the country.
No, 24 million.
I'm sorry, 24 million. You are correct.
Yeah.
That's astounding.
And there are still some doctors who are saying that by the end, 150 million people will have contracted this disease in the United States.
Well,
because they almost have to, in a way, I guess, in order to create that herd immunity thing. But
they're talking about a herd immunity is what they're saying is our best hope now. But if you say 250 million people and you have a 5% death rate, what is that? I mean, how many people would die?
Mm-hmm.
Think about those numbers. I mean, you could still see a lot of people die from this, which is scary, which is tragic and scary. But I'm going to say this from a media point of view, Barry.
Okay.
When things were going better for LA County, without fail, numbers were released Monday through Friday at 1:00 in the county.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, when I left work for the past, I think starting starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By the time I left work, LA County hadn't reported numbers yet. Because now they are themselves struggling with the message. They are struggling with the numbers. And how do we present these numbers back out to people? How does the state now say, hey, 7,000 people, we confirm 7,000 extra people are sick today? So you can tell Newsom's office is struggling, which trickles down to the county board of supervisors, and will trickle down to Pasadena at some point if our numbers keep, increasing and surging in this direction. Anybody would struggle with the message on this. So.
Yeah, no, I felt the last press conference I saw, I didn't see the most recent one yesterday, but the last press conference I saw, I thought I was being sold. I kind of felt that feeling, and even by the public health director, I just felt, at least on the state level, that I was being sold something. We were being told, well, it's not bad and it's good, and now they've got this forecast model that shows that it's getting better and it's getting great, and I'm starting to see more propaganda than information right now.
Well, now you're going to start seeing manipulation with numbers, which we did. You're going to start seeing fun with numbers. How do we make these bad numbers look good? And that's what hey, we're testing more people. And you say, we've tested now, and you give some percentage, and that's trying to spin that, hey, it's great that we're testing people. But then you're not talking about how the positivity rate. You're not talking about the fatality rate.
Right.
And what we really need to hear from is we need Fauci or somebody to start talking about, okay, this is what we can expect as far as the fatality rate. If this many people are getting sick, are we at a 10% fatality rate, a 5%, a 2%? What kind of numbers can we expect to see over the next month is what they need to start telling us.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that the positivity rate is going up is just not good, because that boosts that so-called infection rate. And the other thing is you can't blame it on testing, because we're seeing the increase in new hospitalizations.
Yeah, and
that has nothing to do with testing.
Hospital, exactly. Well, the hospital beds in Texas and some hospitals are almost full. The same in Arizona. Locally, Huntington Hospital got down. Their highest number was 79. At one point, they had 79 patients over at Huntington. They got all the way back down to 19. As of this morning, they were back to 53. And that's in about, I think, April 23rd, we were at 19. So that's about 2 months ago, and we're back up to 53. So do the math.
Definitely going.
I mean, we're not far away from that 79 again. Yeah, the numbers are moving in the wrong direction.
I know. In the last few minutes, I want to shift gears a little bit and go back to the local brief, because I'm getting a sense, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm getting a sense that Alex Villanueva is bad news. Am I right about that at all?
That he's bad news?
Yeah.
Wow, you may be the last person to come to that conclusion.
Yeah, I'm a little slow on local events, but every time I hear or even see him, how did he get elected? What was our thinking there?
Before Alex Villanueva won, no outsider had won the sheriff's seat in more than a century. Now, you can say what you want about the past sheriffs, but there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
Now this guy wins, and look where we are. I mean, seriously, people not on the same level as Trump, but I will say this: people have to start taking elections serious again.
Yeah.
And look at, because I think with Trump, a lot of it was an FU vote to Obama and the people who voted for Obama. A lot of people and you and I have talked about this, said, okay, Hillary wasn't a likable candidate, but still you have to think about 4 years with this guy going forward.
Well, if I may, though, I don't think it was that simple, because I still think he had the aura of The Apprentice, of successful businessman. You and I didn't think that, but we weren't going to vote for him anyway. But I've spoken to people who have voted for him.
The people who
really thought that he was going to shake things up, be great from a business perspective, be a great deal maker, be a great, make things happen.
Yeah.
That's what I kept hearing. He can make things happen. Yeah, he can. I don't think,
They thought putting a businessman in office would, hey, we can run the U.S. like a business.
Exactly.
But, there's a lot of people who thought that Paul McCartney died in a car crash and the Beatles replaced him.
Yeah,
and those probably, and that's just as batshit crazy as voting for Trump, as far as I'm concerned, because I understand the people being enamored by him. I do understand that, and I agree with everything you said about The Apprentice. But I still think you have to expand it out over 4 years and go, okay, if we get 4 years of this kind of speech that we were getting in the election, we'll think be okay. And it was obvious we couldn't do 4 years of that. I mean, look where we are now.
But what I think they didn't figure out was how stupid he was.
Exactly.
I don't think that part they figured out. I think they figured he was controversial, a loudmouth, a womanizer. But I think within all of that, they still thought, oh, yeah, but he's got the smarts. And now we know he don't.
And he would grow into the job.
He does not have the smarts. So
they thought he would grow into the job.
Yeah, well, I know.
Which he didn't grow into the job.
No, he didn't. Well, we got to leave it there. We're going to show something fun. We're going to show a spoken word piece from my buddy Dre.
That's right. Now, it's not my voice, though. It's not my voice on this.
Okay. Whose voice is it?
You know what? I hired somebody off of Fiverr to do this, to perform this piece. I wrote it, And then because I like my own voice, I went and found somebody with a good voice.
I don't know. You probably should have read it, but okay. We're gonna watch this. It's exciting, and that's gonna take us off the air. And we will be with you next week. So until then, I'm Barry Gordon.
Some people can comment on it, and I'm Andre Coleman.
Yeah, you can comment on Facebook. Absolutely.
Let's do that.
So I'm Barry Gordon.
I'm Andre Coleman.
He is. And this is NewsRap Live at 5. Do not go away.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Equality is an elixir mixed of freedom, respect, and tolerance that every man, woman, and child thirsts for. That thirst will not be quenched until Black brothers can drive down the highway without fearing for their lives during traffic stops. When men cease ruling over women's bodies and dictating a woman's right to choose, then we will be equal. When opioids and drugs are considered an epidemic when they decimate nonconformist neighborhoods, when doctors stop pumping us with mind-bending drugs that cause more problems than they cure. I'm talking about equality. When our neighborhoods no longer have churches and liquor stores on every corner that rob people of color of sobriety and their money. When cowardly politicians bought and paid for by gun lobbyists do more than send thoughts and prayers after our children die in mass shootings. When every child can get a college education, a job, and grow up around green space instead of concrete jungles built on the bricks of lies of rich developers. Let's talk about equality. When working class people can afford homes and are not forced to live under bridges and in their cars because greedy landlords raise the rent by hundreds of dollars on a whim. When pedophile coat preachers and crooked politicians are brought to justice and not coddled because they are elephants or donkeys. When our people fight against the chains of addictions, illiteracy, poverty, violence, and social injustice to all, we can be free. When every man and woman take control of their destiny and refuse to conform for the sake of acceptance, then this opus of equality will be complete.